Tools, tools, and more tools. Continuing talking about tools, we're going to start talking about the socket and the ratchet, commonly referred to as socket wrenches. To start with, you've got the ratchet. The ratchet here has an on-off button, so be sure to turn it off when you leave for the weekend, otherwise the battery go dead in it. Ha ha, just a little joke. That's for taking the bolt on and off. You can see, you can listen how a ratchet sounds. A ratchet turns one of these. This is called a socket. Sockets come in various shapes and sizes. Big ones, small ones, even medium-sized ones. Couple things to talk about with sockets to start off with. Let's start off with the drive size. Socket drive sizes. You have several different sizes. Your sizes of socket drive sizes. You have a 1/4 inch drive, which is the smallest, 3/8 drive, 1/2 inch drive, and the biggest that we normally see in automotive is 3/4 inch drive. There are a bigger size, there's an inch size, but the four most common are these ones right here. What do I mean by 1/4 inch? 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 3/4. Well, if you measure the square here, that square is 3/4 squares. It's 3/4 of an inch. Show you a little bit easier picture. Use the big 3/4 inch drive ratchet. This square here is 3/4 of an inch. The 1/2 inch, of course, is 1/2 inch square. You have the 3/8 square and the 1/4 inch square. 1/4 inch, most of your 1/4 inch sockets are small, down to this, which is like 5 millimeter. They get even smaller. There's a 4 millimeter. See how small that end is? But that's a 1/4 inch. Every one of your drive sizes on these rows here are 1/4 inch. These bigger sockets here, the drive size is a 3/8. One thing to remember when messing with your tools, when using your tools, be sure you put them back where they go, back in the right spot. That way it's quick and easy. You look and say, oh, I need my 14 millimeter. Where's it at? It's not there. You know to look for it before you send a car down the road with it still stuck under the hood. Sockets, you've got short sockets. You've got deep sockets. As you can see the difference in short and deep. If we're comparing, this is a 7/8 deep, this is a 7/8 shallow or short socket. And there you can see the difference. Also, you have mid-depth sockets. These are all considered 13 millimeter 3/8 drive sockets. You've got a shallow, mid, and then a deep. Sockets also come in points. Like if you're talking about the points, like the hex head of a bolt, right? You've got a 6-point socket, as you can see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points. They also have a 12-point socket, but you've got twice as many points, like this one. You would call, let's say, this socket right here would be a 13/16 deep 3/8 drive 6-point. This would be a 1/2 inch drive. It's hard to read that 1/2 inch, but 1/2 inch drive, sorry, 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch drive, 6-point deep socket. if I said go get me a 1/2 inch drive, 18mm shallow 12-point socket, it'd be that right there. Notice there's 12 points there. 1/2 inch drive, shallow socket. You also have sockets like this one, which is called like an Allen bit, an Allen socket. Allen wrenches, we'll talk about later, typically look like this. This being an Allen wrench, it's just a little hex wrench. They make it in socket form to put on your ratchet. Another one you have is called a Torx socket. Notice the star pattern. This is a Torx, T-O-R-X. They make these in a driver like a screwdriver called a Torx screwdriver. We'll talk about later when we get into screwdrivers. Another bar that's used with a ratchet or a style of ratchet is called a torque wrench. The torque wrench allows you to set the wrench to where it'll click. This is a click type torque wrench where it'll stop at when the bolt reaches a certain tightness. And you can hear, if you listen, you'll hear that click when you get to that, when you get it tight enough, it'll stop and it'll click. Another bar that can be used is this right here. This is called a speed wrench. Notice the way it's made. This handle spins free. A speed wrench is made for quickness. You don't see these used much anymore because of your electric tools, such as this electric ratchet right here. Now all you do is just hit the button and it goes fast. Electric, they make these in air as well. This is an air powered one. You have a thing right here called a breaker bar. This long bar is a breaker bar. It doesn't have a ratchet head on it, but it's got the length for leverage. So when you're breaking a bolt loose, you don't, and it will break bolts as well. You don't want to do that, but it's to break a bolt loose. That's where it gets the name breaker bar. We're not going to get into the power wrenches yet. Those come later. One thing you have to go along with your sockets and your ratchets is called an extension. This is an extension. This is a 6-inch extension. They make 4-inch extensions. They make 3-foot extensions. Extensions come in handy when it's something it's hard to reach, but you need to use a ratchet on and a socket. You also have what's called a universal or swivel sockets. Notice how this one spins. This is an actual socket. It's a 6-point mid-depth 9/16 swivel socket, 3/8 drive. You can have a swivel extension such as this one, to where you can put any socket on there and just put it on the end of an extension. So if you hooked it here, this is called a locking extension, so the socket doesn't come off. And then you can take and put your socket on it, and then you've got adjustability to get into other tight spaces. If you notice, this is a 3/8 drive. See how long it is? This is a 3/8 drive. This is a 3/8 drive. All these are 3/8 drive ratchets. You can use them for the same purpose. However, this one has a lot more leverage because it's a lot longer. And if you notice, 3/8 drive compared to 1/4-inch drive, your 1/4-inch drive ratchets aren't as stout as your 3/8 drive. Your 3/8 drive aren't as stout as your 1/2-inch drive, and of course your 1/2-inch drive isn't as stout as your 3/4 drive. Next time we'll be talking about pliers.